All right, before we jump into this, if you guys don't want anything spoiled for the last episode, leave now. Come back after you watch it, because I'm going to make some predictions. I'm going to go through some theories I've seen online. I'm going to make my own theories, and it's going to spoil some stuff for sure, because there's been a lot of clues that have been found online, and we're going to go through it all right here. So leave right now if you don't want anything spoiled for you. We're just going to jump right into it, okay? Theory number one is that Vecna has possessed Kali, and that he is controlling her to manipulate Elle, okay? Now, evidence that we have so far is that she lost her accent. I don't know if you guys remember, but she had an accent before, and now it's gone. You know, when she's back in Season 5, she's talking normal, which is very weird. And if you guys remember correctly, when Vecna's talked through other people before, he changed the way they sound, right? So it's very weird that all of a sudden her voice just sounds different, you know? I've seen that theory online, and I was like, that is spot on. That her accent is completely gone. She sounds completely different now. And she's acting very weird too, right? So that's another thing. But I mean, that's kind of obvious that she's acting weird. Everyone could see that. And then the next thing is she's bleeding from the wrong nostril. Usually when you use your powers in Stranger Things, you bleed through the left nostril. She's bleeding through her right nostril. Now, I don't know why that is, but very, very weird that she is. So it's another piece of evidence that something fishy is going on here. And also, if you guys remember, when she had the flashback with 11, and she was showing 11, like, look, there's a bunch of pregnant ladies they're gonna raise the baby, raise them to be just like us or whatever. I think that was all BS. I think that was like one of her illusion things where she was making 11 see things that weren't actually there, because it just doesn't make sense that that's what they were doing in the lab. They were trying to, create more of these kids. It seems like what they were trying to do in the lab was control it and stop it from like spreading, is what it seemed like the point that they got to, right? But I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if I am. Now, obviously, what does this mean if Vecna is controlling Kali? Well, if he is, then he could see everything that they're doing, and he could manipulate Elle, right? And what is Kali doing? She's manipulating Elle, right? She's telling Elle, hey, we're going to get to this location, and once we do, we're going to end it, okay? We're going to stop whatever we have to stop, and then we're going to end it. It's going to be over for us. And now, obviously, like, in my opinion, I think Elle's like, okay, yeah, good idea, but I don't think she's going to do it. I think Elle's I will find out, right? But I mean, that's my theory, is that Elle's like, yeah, for sure. When we get to the bridge, we do that. Yeah. But she's thinking like, no, we're not going to do that. So we'll find out. I hope that's how it goes down. I hope they get to that part. And she's like, okay, Elle, you ready? And I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And then, something else happens. She tries to fight her or something. I don't know. But if it does end up happening, I'm going to be so disappointed. If that's the way that if that's the way Elle's story ends, is on a bridge with Kali, it won't, though. I know for a fact it won't, I'll bet anything it's not going to happen. That's not how it's going to end. But either way, she's trying to manipulate Elle, and I think Vecna is controlling her. Maybe it's the government. Who knows? Maybe the government, when they had Kali, right, they were trying to manipulate her, and they figured out a way to, to control her. And maybe they knew Elle would come and save her, right? So maybe that could be it. That's like a good theory too. I just thought of on the spot. But either way, that's what I think about Kali. All right, so next up, Will being controlled by Vecna. This is another theory that's going crazy online right now. Everyone's talking about it. Our pieces of evidence are a little bit weird, like the arm crossed one. Apparently, in a couple scenes, you see Will with his arms crossed, and apparently that's how Henry stands. Apparently, when the Mind Flayer and Henry or Vecna were controlling Billy, he was also standing like that when he was talking to 11, and he was talking like Vecna or like Henry does, and apparently Will is doing the same thing, right? So I don't know. The arm cross thing's a little bit weird. What got me for sure, made me think I have to mention this in the video, is the ice cream thing. Okay, so at one point in season 5, Will mentions that he used to go to Melvald's and get ice cream. Now, Melvald's is now a general store. It's not an ice cream shop anymore. And the only time it was an ice cream shop was when Henry was a kid. So when Will said that, everyone's starting to say that was Vecna or Henry speaking through Will, because in the the Broadway play that they did for Stranger Things is called The First Shadow. In that, you actually see the Melvald's ice cream shop. But in today's Hopkins, or like the 80s Hopkins, it's not. It's a general store. It's not an ice cream shop. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, they're onto something here. That's pretty solid evidence that Will's being controlled, right? The arm cross thing, I don't know. But that's pretty solid evidence if you ask me. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't make sense for him to say that. Now, obviously, what does it mean? If Vecna is controlling Will, what exactly does that mean? Well, it means he's going to see everything they're doing, and he knows what they're doing. So that's why we're going to get into my theories in a second. It's gonna add on to that. But I think Vecna controlling Will mean that he sees everything that they're doing, the whole radio tower plan, and he's gonna stop it before it happens. Or is he? We'll get into that in a second. Now, something I do want to talk about here is that for the last year, even maybe longer, all the interviews we're seeing that the cast members are doing, what do they keep saying in this interview? It's going to be devastating. It's going to be so sad. It's going to be tragic. They're saying all of these things, but it hasn't been any of those things. It hasn't been sad, devastating, or tragic at all, which leads me, and probably 99% of you guys in this video, to believe that this last episode is going to be sad and tragic and it's going to be horrible. Everything that they were talking about is going to happen in this last 2 hours, which leads me to another theory that is floating around online. And the theory is, and again, this one has solid evidence, is that after all this sad, horrible, tragic things happen, that they're going to time travel back and everyone will be back. Like, I mean everybody. Billy, Eddie, Barb, like everyone is going to be back. Because so the evidence for that theory is that Mr. Clark, when he is teaching the kids in the class about the wormholes, that he says if a wormhole gets collapsed, it can trigger time travel, right? So this is very important for my theory that we're going to talk about in a second. My brilliant theory. So remember that, okay? Remember that if you collapse a wormhole, it can cause time travel. That's what they're trying to do. That's the whole game plan for this last 2-hour episode, is to collapse the wormhole, right? But Mr. Clark taught us that if you do that, it can trigger time travel, right? So that's a theory that's online right now, is that a bunch of tragic, horrible things are going to happen. Steve might die, Dustin, a bunch of people, right? And then someone is going to be left alive, and that person is going to go ahead and save the day, and it's going to cause time travel, and everybody will be back, and maybe forget about everything. Maybe they'll be back kind of like an Endgame thing where they forgot about what happened. You know what I mean? They had no clue what happened. So that's another theory online. Now it's time for my theory, which is potentially the stupidest one. But either way, this is what I think is going to happen. Okay, I think that Will is being controlled by Vecna, and Vecna can see everything that is happening right now. And Vecna knows that if this wormhole gets collapsed, if their plan succeeds at stopping Vecna, it could potentially trigger a time travel. Maybe Vecna, being as intelligent and smart as he is, knows that that's going to happen and is making them do it. Maybe Vecna cannot collapse the wormhole on his own, even with the 12 kids. He needs help from somebody, right? So maybe he sees the plan that they're doing, and he's like, all right, guys, go ahead. Good luck. Because I think that would be like that would be so good if that ends up happening. It would be tragic if, like, a bunch of people, sad things happen and a bunch of people end up not making it out. And then, Vecna walks out at the end and he's like, you guys walked right into my plan. You guys did exactly what I wanted you to do. You know what I mean? I don't think that's how the show should end, but I think if that happened like an hour and 20 minutes into this 2-hour episode, then that would be dope. Like, that would be really good. And I think that's what's going to happen. That's my theory, is I think Vecna knows all of the stuff that these kids know. He knows what their plan is, and he's not going to stop it. He's going to be like, all right, go ahead, do what you guys got to do. But who knows? I also think that there is going to be a bunch of crazy fight scenes. Like I said, I think we all know Kali isn't a good person. She's not on their side. Like, come on, man. Anybody that still thinks she is, nobody does, though. No one online is saying that, but I think she's against them. She's trying to ruin what they're doing. And I think there's going to be a big fight there between her and probably Elle, right? There's going to be a huge fight between Vecna and the group. And then we're all forgetting about one thing. What is that one thing we're all forgetting about? The Mind Flare. Where is it? When's it going to come out? You know what I mean? So that, I think, is going to be the finale. Like the last half an hour of this, maybe 20 minutes, the Mind Flare is going to pop out. And it's just going to be crazy epic. So anyway, that's going to wrap this video up. Do me a favor, guys. I know I got so many things wrong. I know I missed so many things. Let me know in the comments. Less than 24 hours from now, we are going to know exactly what happened. And I'm going to be doing a live podcast reviewing talking about the last episode and this whole season with a couple buddies. We're going to be doing it live, so you guys can jump in the live chat and talk to us and be like, yo, what'd you guys think about this or that? And we'll answer all the questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So as soon as the show's done, as soon as I'm done watching the episode, I'm going to meet up with some buddies. I'm going to click go live, and we're going to do a live podcast reaction to that. So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys turn notifications on. Hit that like button. And like I said, leave me comments right now, because I might make a part 2 of this in like a couple hours. If you guys leave me some good theories, I might go ahead and just make another video like this and just throw it out real quick. So, but either way, that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I see you guys in the next one. Peace out.